What's up, Warriors? We just came from a reaction performed by Sarah. Not going to try and pronounce the surname. It was requested by Mark Nelson. So Mark wanted us to rather react to a live that was performed with Sarah featuring a Canadian singer-songwriter. Let me just find his name again. Oh gosh, I just closed it. Oh, Rufus Wainwright. Okay. So I wasn't too impressed with the male singer. And I really want to watch the official music video that Sarah created for this specific song because we could now tell that this is a very, very raw song. It's a moment in mm, the life of, I'm gonna go and take a jab and say 60% of real women's lives. So they get to a moment where they sit and have a heart to heart, aka one-on-one with themselves, and then they realize, but you know, I'm not who I used to be, and I'm kind of missing certain things about who I used to be. So it's almost like you look in the mirror and you don't even recognize who you have become, whether for the better or not so much for the better. Um, but yeah, essentially, I didn't really feel like that guy had a place on that stage. It's sorry to say, but a man shouldn't be there. Unless it was a case of the duet was written in a way where he had his own lyrics so that he could maybe sing from the man's point of view. But then also, I would expect to actually see a man with, a sufficient amount of testosterone that can actually classify him as a freaking man. Um, but yeah, okay. So I was a bit unimpressed with that version. Sarah, on the other hand, is phenomenal. She's amazing. I love listening to her music, and so I want to come and listen to the official music video. Okay. I think she absolutely deserves that, and we should give it a try. I'm also very curious to see what she did with the production, because Mark actually mentioned that it was her. Um, yes, you used a word now, Mark. And now I can't. Oh, here we go. So I just want to open your note again. Uh, Broadcasting composition for her musical. Okay, so you named it a musical, which again leads me to believe like something very theatrical, which I am just very much looking forward to. So yeah, here we go. Let's give this girl. Well, she's a full-grown woman, but let's go see what she initially intended for this production. You guys really need to tell me how to pronounce this surname.
It's not simple to say. Most days I don't recognize me. That these shoes and this apron, that place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl. She's imperfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine. And it's not what I asked for. Sometimes life just slips in through a back door and carves out a person and makes you believe it's so true.
This is what it was meant to be.
And now I've got you, and you're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give it all back for a chance to start over and rewrite an ending or two. For the girl that I knew who'd be reckless just enough, who get hurt, but who learns how to toughen up when she's bruised and gets used by a man who can't love. And then she'll get stuck and be scared of the life that's inside her, growing stronger each day, till it finally reminds her to fight just a little, to bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone but used to be mine. Used to be mine. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine.
Okay. So ladies, don't you agree? This is a far better version, eh? So you guys know I stand up a lot for our gentlemen, because women have forgotten how to treat their men, and men have forgotten who they are because of various movements and narratives. And so I tend to have the side of the man, but in this case, I'm gonna say, we change so much over the years. If you weren't born with a silver spoon in the mouth, so sometimes in this case now, she's given up a lot. She has changed a lot, but she acknowledges at the point of her life that she's in currently, she acknowledges and says, you know what, but that messy girl, even though she lied, she was kind. She was mine. She was me. And I can't deny her, but because that girl, whatever she went through, ended up becoming who I am today. So sometimes we change for the better, sometimes we don't change for the better. Sometimes too much pain. So again, in her case, where she says she was with a man that didn't know how to love her, and then you end up being bruised. I take it was probably emotional bruises, or it could have been physical abuse that resulted in bruises, don't know. But at the end of the day, you are the one that walk with those scars and bruises, and it does not go away. You end up either lonely, you reject love more often, or you reject it to the point where you end up realizing, shit, so much time has passed. I'm not that innocent girl anymore that so willingly opened yourself up to love, because you used to maybe have a free spirit, And because of trauma, because of abuse, because of bad experiences, that starts fading. Um, so yeah, like I said initially in the previous live version, and I think even in the intro of this one, we all get to a point where we stop and we analyze where we are at, we analyze who we have become. I mean, I've so something she said that is very, very true. Women who are like this and women who have been scarred, we tend to be very, very hard on ourselves. So I used to almost, I think it was every 2 months. Yeah, and eventually it became every 6 months. But I will have a sit down with myself and then I will look at where I am, where I come from, and where I'm heading. Did I make progress? Did I not make progress? In both my career, my personal life, my mental state, how good I have become at pretending to be fine, how good I have become to reject all emotion. So those were actually my criteria in order to survive. Um, and in order to not be walked over because, let's say, I was in corporate. Um, so childhood trauma and those things is not going to serve you if you end up in a corporate space. So you need to overcome that. You need to block that out. That's what I did, to the point where it actually then corporate ended up breaking me because I was pretending the whole time to be strong and to be amazing. And um, yes, I have the mental capacity and abilities to do what I need to do. But if you go and trigger childhood traumas, that's a different story. Then everything comes down crumbling. So the reason why I say that man didn't have a place on that stage, again, is this was a moment with herself. Um, she had to make it herself. She was a waitress. But you can compare that to any, let's say, minimum wage job. Um, it could be, let's come up with a few ideas. So, waitress, domestic cleaner, cleaners who work at hotels. I know that's a big thing in the US. Um, exotic dancers. Um, not everyone's there for because it's so. I don't believe for a single second anyone would go and do that because it's fun. They do it because they're desperate. Because they need to provide. Either they don't have a dad, or there's a sick mom, or there's a sick dad, and there's medical bills, and um, or kids that need to go to school and university, and there's no one else to do it. There's no husband, So there's so many stories that one needs to, or scenarios that one needs to consider, and it changes the person who needs to do it. Um, a waitress, that a life of a waitress sucks. I did some waitressing when I was still in school, and the way you get abused and groped and uh, spat on, and yelled at and cursed at, and it is horrifying. It is horrible. Again, it changes who you are. It changes how you look at other people, how you look at men. Um, she did such a good job, yeah. And did you guys notice how she almost took on two different personas by changing her physical appearance? So the one where because she was singing of how messy she used to be, instead of her hair being tied up really nicely and she looked all together, composed. She had her hair loose and a bit curly from, when obviously, even if I'm going to take out my crunchy and my stuff now, my hair's going to look all like funny because it was obviously tied up the entire day. So you can almost associate that with being messy in a physical sense. Um, Whereas when she was her current version, she was cleaned up, Hair was tidy, hair was nicely tied up, beautiful jewelry, beautiful clothing that she was wearing, all of this. So I just think she did an amazing job. She did so well. And even whilst she was in the dressing room, she was journaling. So again, that ties in with this current song and why I keep pushing and saying this is a conversation that a woman has with herself, um, in the form of I stare myself in the mirror and I talk to myself, or I look at myself and I bawl my eyes out because I know the conversations that's happening in here, or I sit down and I journal. Um, so when we journal, we internalize. People who journal are a lot more stable mentally. It's been proven. So I stopped journaling when I was a teenager just because my privacy was violated. You guys know this by now. Um, at first, I did what every teenage girl would do, and I journaled in actual journals, and I loved my journals. It was the only space I had, the only freedom I had to express myself and to process what I was going through. And then my journals were taken by the family, my mother in particular, and read and shared with the church and with my grandparents and all my family and whatever. And I got judged out of this world. Then I burned all my physical journals and I started digitalizing my journals, which was the worst mistake because then they just hacked into my computer and they took my journals, faded, and I got banned out of the fucking town and the church and everything. So having the freedom to express yourself has become a luxury. Um, you almost only have your thoughts, and even today, honestly, guys, we're at the point where I don't even believe our thoughts are our own anymore. With all the tech, and that's why I hate having tech in my bedroom. Um, yeah, I even feel like the matrix is in our heads. Like you cannot even have a thought and not there's not someone who knows it. But in any case, Mark, this was now a bonus. This one is sponsored by me, but just because I really wanted to watch the official music video when I spotted it now earlier. Um, I'm still grateful that you introduced the song to me. Like, damn. I've come so far that although I get to a point in my life where I drown out anything and everything that could potentially make me emotional, or make me ponder and realize, oh, shit's actually, maybe I'm not 100%, so I don't do that anymore. I just, well, I didn't focus on oh my gosh, I'm actually not okay. I just focus on, I have a goal, I need to reach the goal. Luckily, I'm obsessive and I'm compulsive, so that helps. And I'm ADHD. Or I have ADHD, so so all of those things I've noticed really help me to like almost, guide my brain and force my brain into a direction so that I can achieve my goals. Not necessarily the healthiest thing to do, but please don't follow my advice. It's definitely not advice. Don't do what I do. Do what I say, not do what I do. um, rather go and have a beer. Have a beer. It's about time. It's been a while since I've had a beer. Oh, it's been so soothing. Um, I think it's needed after this freaking little episode that we had. And apparently the other two songs that I need to react to now is also tear jerkers. So we're gonna see how we're gonna survive this. It's a Saturday afternoon. I've been recording all day, so it's been busy. I'm so grateful that it's quiet. I really thought it's gonna be a freaking mess and it's gonna be super noisy, but it's not. I'm pretty sure people know not to mess with me today. Like, I've got my axe right here. um, I'm a bit short-tempered the last few weeks, so no one should come and piss me off. They'll get axed. But yeah, cool. Guys, I will check you in the next one. Goodbye.